Usually it's always pretty fun to talk about MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, because every time we do, it's because he's gone out there, he said something stupid, he's done something stupid, but this time, not so fun. Because what's happening is that Mike Lindell, again, CEO of MyPillow, recently announced that on August 20th and 21st, he is going to be hosting yet another summit. But this one's going to be a little different from the ones he has hosted in the past. This is not just going to be, a cyber symposium where he's, putting forth what he calls these, proof, undeniable, unrefutable proof that the election was stolen. This one is what he's calling a, quote, moment of truth summit. And what sets this one apart is that he has now gathered up close to a dozen current and former right-wing sheriffs from around the nation who are becoming a part of his election denial ecosystem. Law enforcement officials are coming into the fold as part of Mike Lindell's new plan to overturn the 2020 election results. And I think at this point, what's clear is that Lindell is not necessarily attempting to overturn the 2020 election results. I feel, based on this evidence, he's gearing up to change future election results. That's why you bring in the law enforcement officials. Lindell already has a network of election workers, right? He does have some sympathetic secretaries of state, not necessarily sympathetic attorneys general at this point, but there are some secretaries of state. There are some candidates still out there, ones that won their primaries this past week that agree with what Mike Lindell is selling. So if these people get into positions of power, they would be the ones who could then direct local law enforcement officers to go and step in. Hey, local PD, we need you to go and confiscate these voting machines. I'm the Secretary of State. You have to do what I say. Now, a regular sheriff might look at that and say, no, this all reeks of illegality. I'm not going to do it. But by bringing these law enforcement officials into the fold, you're pretty much guaranteeing that you can get sympathetic voices. So you have a Republican election-denying Secretary of State. You just had an election. Secretary of State doesn't like the results, and they say, hey, Sheriff, hey, it was great. I met you at that summit a couple weeks ago. Remember? Tell you what I need you to do. We think there was fraud, so I need you to go and confiscate all these voting machines. The sympathetic sheriff, of course, would say, absolutely, no problem. It was great seeing you. How are the kids? I got your back. Don't worry about it. That's the danger here. This is no longer Mike Lindell just going out saying goofy things and only goofy people listen to him. This is a dangerous evolution of Mike Lindell's election denial, because more and more people somehow keep being brought into the fold. As I said, it is an ecosystem. He has now created this entire network. And you have, by the way, some of the sheriffs, former sheriffs, I should say, that are now joining forces with him that have been holding their own summits, talking about election denial or so-called election fraud. These are dangerous individuals who, again, have influence. They may not still be in office, but they know the folks who are. They know the people who took their jobs. They know the members of the police force. They can make these things happen if they choose to. So Lindell, as goofy as he is, as much as he's lied, he's put together an unfortunately good team here. And that's absolutely terrifying. The only thing that could stop him, the only thing that would shut him up for good is losing those defamation trials that he has coming up. But we're possibly 2 years out from that. 2 years. Do you understand the damage this man can do within the next 2 years? Hell, discovery in the defamation trial doesn't even end until January of 2023. He has a lot of time to build up his army, send them across the country, that by the time he, if he gets found guilty and loses everything he's ever had, his network, because he had so much time to build it, will live on even without him. That is the danger of what this man has put together. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share, but again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.